Nat and Jodie!
Is this the real Beck Power?
We're here, Beck Power.
That's me. I am so excited to have you guys on the podcast. Thanks for being here.
We're very happy to be here.
Great to see you again. Yes.
Yeah, we've done a few interviews over the years now, isn't it?
Yeah,
a couple of years,
we've known each other for quite a few years now.
Yeah, for various different projects, and I'm very excited that you can join me on this new one, the Digital Nomad Me podcast. I'm going to give you guys a minute right now just to tell the audience who you are, what you're working on right now, etc.
Cool. Well, Nat and Jodie, and it's spelled N-A-T-N. It's the and. But we have been house sitting and traveling the world since early 2013. So we're still house sitting, but we're actually house sitting in Australia at the moment. So we're getting to know a little bit of our homeland. This is where we are from. We don't ever want to live here full time again, but it's nice to explore it at the moment. So having been house sitting around the world for this amount of time, pretty much getting back to back the whole entire time, it's kind of positioned us into being, I guess you'd say, house sitting experts. And we have a digital product called House Sitting Academy, and we also help house sitters create their roaming income. So we don't actually use the term digital nomad because not a lot of the older people that we tend to attract fully get the digital nomad name themselves. They don't want to own it. They just like the idea of having a roaming income. So that's the space we play in.
I love it, and it's cool because there are, from the people I've talked to, no one is actually Kit is, but full-time nomadic. You guys are on the go. I mean, other than right now, which you've got some stuff going on in Australia. You guys have been on the go for years and just non-stop. And the house sitting thing is such a big part of that, obviously.
Well, I think that's made it possible because I don't think we make great travelers. We've talked about this before. Going from hotel to hotel or hostels definitely are not my thing. Mm-hmm. So housing is good for us because it means we can stay for, say, even 2 or 3 months, maybe even longer than that, 4 or 5 months, and we can settle down, get our work done, and we're in a house, so it doesn't feel like we're traveling all the time and we're on the road, but we still get the benefit, I guess, of different scenery and changes of languages and cultures as we move from country to country every couple of months. So it's good.
Well, the crazy part is we left Australia only a few months after getting together and moved to Dubai. So we were living in Dubai for 16 months, had an epic fail, lost everything there. For some stupid reason, we thought a brick and mortar business would be a good idea. And all we wanted to do was travel. So it was why we would lock ourselves into that.
That was a blonde moment or two.
So it's sort of universally, let's rip all that away from you. And it was almost I don't think we would have ever even considered house sitting had we have still been, flush with cash.
Yeah.
So it was kind of it put us into the position of being able to really dive in and enjoy this lifestyle. We love having pets around us. We love having the interaction of that. And we're still house sitting here now. I mean, we're on a 2-month house sit in rural Victoria, Australia, and it's a place that we would never have come to.
Yep.
And if it wasn't for house sitting, we're not getting to experience this really awesome little town. It's only got 536 people in it. It's so cool.
+2.
Jeez, I'm a city girl. I don't know if I could handle that for 2 months.
I think that's the beauty of house sitting is that I think we're both. I think I said to the homeowner, I couldn't live here. That was to drive me nuts. But to be here for a couple of months, awesome experience. Yeah. And then next we go to the Gold Coast and we're in the middle of it all again, in the middle of the city stuff.
And during the Commonwealth Games.
And the Commonwealth Games. So it's sort of, we've all the time, we've gone backwards and forwards between city and country, hot temperatures, cold temperatures, crazy snow, just so many different varieties of things that we've been able to experience because of house sitting.
And Beck, I guarantee if you came here and saw these 2 Bogan cars that we've got, you'd love it.
I do love a good Bogan car, actually. Yeah.
Good red ute.
Oh, yeah. I actually used to have a red truck back in New Zealand. That's so funny. Let's talk about how you got started doing that, because that's not something that you guys might have just fallen into it. What happened when you first got started?
Well, we didn't plan to start. We went to Dubai to probably, like most people, save up money, pay off our credit cards, and then go traveling. And it didn't work that way. As Jodie said, we had an epic fail. And we walked away literally with $300. So we went, shit, we either go home to Australia and probably live with our parents, one or the other, probably Jodie's, and then get a job. Because
but that's never going to happen because I'm psychologically unemployable. So that's no option.
So it really wasn't an option. It was like, okay, well, we have to go and do something else. And then, strangely, as the universe works, house sitting crossed our path again. Jodie had actually been house sitting in Sydney, but we never thought of it for international travel. So we went back and we looked at the platforms and went, oh my God, there's house sits all over the world. What were we thinking? So we went, what if we just did that and got back on our feet? And that's why we started house sitting, was just like, we'll do 6 months of it. We'll get back on our feet. We don't have to pay rent, have a great experience, and you will get over the trauma of what we've just been through.
And so 6 months has turned into 5 years, and
still going strong.
The only time, it was only September last year that was the first time in 5 years that we actually rented a place for 2 months. And it was because a house that had fallen over. We were supposed to go down to the beach at Mazatlan in Mexico, and unfortunately the couple had a health scare and they had to cancel their trip. And we were like, well, we've got friends in Vanuatu where we were just house sitting. Let's go back and rent. And what a weird feeling to not have responsibility. It was really weird. It's kind of like we stepped into your world for a little bit going, oh, this is really strange. But when you can rent cheaply, it's like, I think from now forward, we'll mix up house sitting with renting short-term every now and again as well. But currently this next 12 months, 100% booked up with house sits. So.
Yeah, let's talk about how you get gigs now, because it's much different than back at the beginning, obviously, when you just started your profile and were looking for places to go.
Well, 5 years ago, house sitting was a newer concept and there wasn't so many people looking for house sits. Now it's a little bit more competitive. So, originally we started on the platforms just like everybody else does, but the more you get into it and the more you travel around, the more homeowners ask you to come back, or their friends or family ask you to come and do house sits and stuff. So then you get to a point where you can't do them all because they're all over the world and they're all running at the same time. So that's when we created the House Sitting Academy online course. What we did was have on the back end of it, when people graduate the academy, we have a private referral network now, so that everybody shares their referrals. I can't do this one. Can you do someone else available for it? And it's an awesome group. We've got a very small number of people in there, but they're really good house sitters, and we get some freaking awesome house sits in there that never make it onto the platforms. So that's pretty much where we fill our books now, between just sort of word of mouth. We joined a couple of platforms when we got back to Australia. And
well, I was just going to say that that experience was very, very unique. So we've been getting these house sits all around the world with ease. It's probably the easiest part of our life. The one part we don't even have to think about. It's kind of like, for whatever reason, we go, oh, let's have a check of what's available. Oh, do you want to take this one? Yep, sounds good. Let's go.
And we get it.
It's like every time. We came back to Australia and we had a house sit over the Christmas period, which was very handy to not have to stay with family. And then we're like, oh, maybe we should stick around a bit longer, get a few things sorted out. Applied to a couple of the platforms in Australia and got bombarded with listings. It's sort of, if Australia is the level of house sits available, start in Australia. You're getting 20, 30 listings a day that you can choose from. It's absolutely mental. But we've got to add a new iteration into our house sitting academy, because there's definitely a knack to applying to house sits in Australia. So
we're very different.
Yeah.
I don't know whether our profile was too formal from doing the international scene or what, but we were just getting knockback after knockback. It was like, okay, and then you start to think, okay, are we doing something wrong? We're not even meant to be in Australia. Like, is this a universal sign? Blah, blah, blah. So it was really funny. But then we just realized our profile was probably a little bit too formal for where Australians are at. So we sort of rejigged it and we suddenly got house sits again. And I was like, this is hilarious.
Amazing. Just change the vernacular in your application.
Yep.
I love that. That's fun. Well, I always like to talk about down, like moments when you've been down. And one thing I really like about you guys is you've been in a lot of the same positions as I have, in terms of like, holy shit, I have $30. What am I going to do? I remember, I think you told me a story about selling your earrings once.
That was funny. We were in New York, and we had our flight booked out of JFK, and
It was the next day.
And we had a 7-day Metro card. And basically, I think we'd been waiting on a little bit of PayPal money to come in or something, and it hadn't arrived.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got in touch with Nat's brother and said, look, can we just come into the city, come into Manhattan, meet you, get $20 off you, we'll give it back to you on PayPal, because we just need to buy these train tickets to get to the airport tomorrow morning. And he's like, oh, it's not going to happen, blah, blah. Thank God he said that anyway. We walked into the metro station and our card had run out. We actually couldn't get on the metro. So we're hoiking it around Brooklyn, trying to find somewhere on a Friday night at 7 p.m. who would actually buy a pair of
jewelers, anyone.
just so that we could buy a ticket to get to the airport the next day. It was just hilarious. And we've had some crazy stuff like that, you know, where we always land on our feet, absolutely, but there's been some crazy stuff. And it's funny when you say about the being down thing. There was one point that I was really, really low, like really heavily depressed at this whole, we just can't keep living like hand to mouth all the time. We would always say yes to something, even if we had no money. And then we would always create the income to buy the flights or do whatever to get to the next place. We was getting really tired of living like that. And we needed to get some flights. And you know what? Down and out, no money whatsoever. And yet we were sitting on St. Lucia in the Caribbean in a multi-million-dollar house. And that's where you really start to take note. You know, you sit back and you look around and you're like, my God, if it's about wealth and abundance, I'm actually surrounded in it right now.
Yeah.
This sort of paper transaction thing that we call money it's just an aspect, like tune into it. So it was a really powerful experience to go through.
That's been the craziest thing of our journey is like money has been the biggest issue. Our relationship flows, our house sits flow, our lifestyle flows, all this thing. And money just every time has been such an issue for us. And it's sort of, it's just so ironic how many places we've been into that have been multi-million-dollar places like that one. And that's not the first one we've been in. We've been in heaps of them. And just sitting there going, the irony is just so ridiculous right now. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
That's amazing. Yeah, I call it my crying on the floor moments. I probably have talked to you guys about them. It's like just you can't even do anything. It's just I'm in my head so much and just, you know, worrying about money. And I think that when you worry about it so much, it kind of freezes you, and so you're in this like frozen state of paralysis. You can't do anything to solve the problem, so you just keep on worrying about it. I've been in that situation many times. Other than what I know you guys are having quite a bit of success now, what has changed for you that you're not going from, because I definitely don't think there's anything wrong with going from like living like that from place to place and like selling earrings and like trying to, you know, going around with by the skin of your teeth. But I don't want to glorify that lifestyle either, because this podcast is about, you know, living in abundance, earning more than you need, not just earning the exact amount that will pay your bills, but really enjoying life and using money to do that. So as a long-winded question, what changed for you that you no longer have that kind of attitude?
For me, it was definitely about diving into what the focus was, and just really seeing that, you know, energy flows where attention goes type of thing. So it's like my attention was always so focused on getting to the next house sit. So therefore I only needed to create the next amount of money for that flight or that grocery bill or that whatever. You know, it was sort of like waking up to the fact of, oh, why don't you just focus on what you want? And then the next question was, well, what do I want? You know, if I've had this focus on lifestyle be so, you know, rolling out for so long and seeing all the benefits of it and sitting in gratitude about all these different things we'd created and the ease and grace that it had been created in, the question of, well, what do I want was almost like, oh, now I have to stop and think about this, because if I don't think about it, I can't create it. So starting to think about it more and more, and it was probably around I don't know, about a year or so ago, even when we just started using ClickFunnels, because everything had been sort of drudgery with, building WordPress sites and trying to build funnels and put 20 billion bits of software together to make things work. And it was just frustrating. So since sort of, moving over and using ClickFunnels, and the ease and the time started to free up out of that. And it was like, oh, I don't have to be so focused on, this hardship type of thing, hardship in the tech world, hardship in the, just making enough money to get by. It was like, oh, I can actually sit back and say, well, what do I want? I actually want a leveraged income. I actually want to not have to live by a schedule. I really hate having to look at the calendar and say I'm booked in to speak to somebody here or do this or do that. I mean, it's okay every now and again, but I don't want to live trading time for money. I don't want to be, coaching people one-on-one or anything like that. It was all about the word leverage. So literally just in the last 12 months, that's what the focus has been. And that's where, the energy flows, where the attention goes. So it's been a game changer in this last year.
I think we had a bit of a wake-up call at the start of the year too, or the end of last year. A good friend of ours, Angelito, he made the same realization because we'd been in Mexico together for a couple of months and we were talking about lifestyle and we had a great lifestyle. The mezcal was flowing and we were down at the pizza shop all the time. So it was all happening. But he had a bit of a wake-up call when he got back home to LA and he said, you know what, this year, 2018, really is about money, about making money. It's not about lifestyle. And it's like, wow, this is really interesting. For the last few years, the first few years we focused on survival. Which was probably the right thing to do because we only had $300 when we started the journey, and then you're trying to make an income from there is really tough. So, and then it became about lifestyle. So things started to free up a little bit more. We had a little bit more space to go and do different things. We had a bit more money for that and a bit more time. And then we had a bit of a wake-up call too and went, wow, lifestyle really isn't equating to money actually. So if we really want to make the money, we have to focus on money and income. And so that's really what this year is about for us, and it's turning into exactly that. So Jodie's right. Wherever your focus goes to is what builds and creates. But you have to be very specific about what that is. And we thought lifestyle was it, and the money would flow in, and it actually hasn't. So it did fit, but not enough. Money now has become our focus, and that's a journey in itself. That's a real head journey to get through that and work through the stuff that comes up around that.
Yeah, and that's something I always say is that we're works in progress. There's never going to be a time when it's like, okay, that's it. Like, we're always moving and we're always moving in one direction or another. So, good points. Thanks for that. Let's move on to the next part of the interview, which is quick fire round. You guys ready?
Yeah, ready.
All right, cool. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. Just say that it's like a game show. Just say the first thing that comes into your head. Let's hear your favorite books.
ExpertSecrets.com secrets.
Russell Brunson's books.
Wow.
No, the 4 Agreements is my ultimate, that was my game changer on personal development. And probably just in the last 6 months, definitely Expert Secrets has been a game changer in knowing how to tell our story and knowing how to sort of value ourselves as well.
Yeah, that's good. I need to reread that one. I did enjoy it. What is your favorite house sit been?
Breckenridge, Colorado, for me. Love the snow.
Oh yeah.
And it was right in the ski fields. We had the ski fields right at the end of the street. It was freaking awesome. We had 3 there.
And a Porsche.
And a Porsche Macan to drive around in.
Holy crap. Are you guys going back there anytime soon?
No,
unfortunately the dog passed away.
Oh no.
They don't need us anymore.
It's worth you sending them a new puppy. Hey!
Don't worry, we thought about it.
Yeah.
They now also have a house in Hawaii that they share between mountain and sea. So it's like,
wow. Oh, that's awesome. What is your favorite country to nomad in?
To nomad in. So you mean like kind of the travel around thing?
Yeah,
or
sure.
Mexico for me at the moment. I mean, it's we're fresh off the door of Mexico. We spent over 6 months there last year, and the food is awesome. The prices are awesome.
just the people. They're so beautiful.
Yeah.
And they're so celebratory and family orientated.
And we were there
really
for the Day of the Dead as well.
It's like my bucket list dream.
Way cool. Way cool. We even did our makeup, and it was really
Oh, that sounds so fun. What is it like traveling around as two women? Like, how do people, have you had any issues? Do people respond weirdly?
As people or a couple?
A couple.
As a couple, we've had absolutely no issues whatsoever. So our homeowner in Barbados just warned us that they're a very Catholic country and that we shouldn't be sort of
PDA.
And it doesn't worry us. I think we're so comfortable with us that nobody else seems to have an issue with it either. So
the funniest part was that when we first left Australia, and we had all these people saying to us, hang on, not only are you a first-time same-sex couple, but you're going to the Middle East. What are you doing? Like, why are you going to the Middle East?
Where it's illegal.
So weird. And it was
brick and mortar business.
Just start a brick and mortar business. It was the best experience being in the Middle East because you're completely catered for. You know, women are separated from men. You can ride at the front of the bus and in the more luxurious train carriage. You know, it's sort of. They had women goddess nights where you could get free drinks throughout the week.
Awesome.
Like, it was the best thing ever. And guys and girls walk down the street holding hands together because it's a sign of respect in the Middle Eastern culture. So it's like, if I'm talking to you,
two guys.
yeah. So it was just the best, absolute best. I mean, the experience in Dubai of losing everything wasn't great, but it was almost like for us to feel comfortable with us. And then traveling the world and doing our house sits. I mean, we've never had, I think there was one homeowner that would literally just said, we weren't 100% sure if you're a couple. There is 2 bedrooms if you need. But yeah.
Now it's in our profile, so everyone knows when we apply for a house that we're a couple. So I think that makes it a lot easier for people.
Oh, that's awesome. I think people worry about that, you know, a little bit when they're going to different countries. I know when I was looking at going to the Maldives, I think I heard like, it might not be the best place to go, but at the end of the day, I think all that stuff is most of the time just anxiety.
Yeah, I think so too. And old stories and stuff like that. I think it's what you make of it. And if you don't have an issue around it and you don't make it a big deal, then no one else will either. So that's pretty much our experience.
Cool. If you had to settle somewhere and you had to choose a country, it's just hypothetical. Don't worry, it's hypothetical. Where would it be?
I'd like Italy.
Greece.
Okay, we're close. At least we're close to each other. We can still
on either side of the border.
Yeah, we can visit each other for weekends, so that's cool.
Cool. And last thing, what advice do you have for people who are thinking about going nomadic and they're just not taking the leap?
You just got to freaking do it. Like, if we can start with $300, literally,
Mm-hmm.
no savings, no credit card, no income stream,
Mm-hmm.
and we were forced into it, definitely. But sometimes being forced into something is actually the best thing ever, because then you've got no damn excuses left. So it's just, you've just got to do it. And as stuff comes up, you've just got to take the next step forward. And I think that's going back to your question before, is like, what's changed? The thing that we kept doing was just taking a step forward, taking a step forward, taking a step. And I don't know, eventually it just all unfolds as it's meant to.
To me, it's like, my favorite question, my favorite statement that I ever hear anybody saying is, I didn't know that. And it's like, yay, how cool that you didn't know that, because you've now just expanded your consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have any fears, doubts or anything, you will never know unless you have a direct experience. And you know what? It's okay. If you start out as a nomad, you sell all your stuff, you like, you know, down to just carry on luggage or something, and you go and do it. And then 6 months down the track, you're like, I hate it. You know, I need to have a home base. I need to do this, that. At least you've given it a go. So direct experience is the only way that you'll know if it's for you or not.
And I guess the other thing is you can always go home. It all turns to just go home. So it's like, it's
or
not
choose a new home.
It's not a major thing to get out and have a go. Like, it's just travel. I think there's a lot of hype around it, and I've seen a lot of this in Australia. Almost when we tell our story about what we've been doing, it's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, rah, rah, rah. And it's like, you know what? It's actually not.
It's just a
All
decision.
you do is all we do is travel and we earn some money online. And like, there's tons of people that earn money online these days. It's not that big a deal. So I think a lot of it can be ego driven and this, oh my God, this is amazing, massive lifestyle. And it's like, yeah, it is, but it's not at the same time.
But it was just a decision at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of anxiety around it, fear of failure, and also if some, like from a psychological point of view, which I'm really fascinated by, if it doesn't work, which by the way has not been defined, if it doesn't work, I'm a failure, and that's such a worry for people that they attach an experiment or something that they should just really try to their actual own identity. But something that you try, as you guys know, we try all sorts of things, and more than half of them probably don't work, but we don't attach it to ourselves at all.
But isn't it interesting, like, did we have an epic fail in Dubai? Yeah, on some levels, absolutely. It was just like ridiculous. Walk away from $300 and you're in your 40s and that's all you own. Like, that's a massive fail on many levels. Mm-hmm. But you know what? It gave us our ultimate lifestyle.
We're so grateful.
If we hadn't have failed, we'd still be in Dubai, running our brick and mortar business and going away for little things to Lebanon and here, there and everywhere, which is what the original plan was. Mm-hmm. Our failure was the exact thing that put us into our ultimate lifestyle. So was it a fail? No. It was fucking the best thing that ever happened. So to me, it's just always course corrections. The failure is not a failure. It's a course correction to back to where you need to be. And sometimes you need those wake-up calls to put you back where you need to be.
100%. Like, looking back on my life, I can see so many times where, I was trying to force something, or I was trying to, and then the thing happened that I was really scared of or whatever. And then suddenly, that was actually a really good thing, that life's like much better now. Would have never been where I am now with all that crazy stuff happening. And if you're just sitting at home and going to work so you can avoid the pain of having that stuff happen, that's fine. You'll avoid the pain, but you'll also avoid all the amazing things that pain would have led to. And I'm, for one, I know you guys too, will embrace those experiences, the bad take the bad with the good with the bad.
But on that point, I don't think you avoid the pain when you're sitting at home. You're in pain. Because you're not doing what you truly love and what you would truly want to do. So the pain and the anguish that goes on internally with that is just not worth it. It's not worth it.
You're right. It's a different kind of pain for sure.
The other side of, I guess, the placing. So it's almost like pre-forecasting your worst case scenario and really feel into it. For us, the humbling experience of, as Nat said, being in our 40s, losing everything, feeling shame more than anything. And shame is the lowest level of the emotional scale, and that's the one that really kicks you in the guts. And when you feel shame, and guess what, you're still alive, you're still able to make a decision to do something else, it's almost like pre-forecast your worst case scenario, because you'll start to see that it'll dissolve. And even if for whatever reason your ego is protecting you so much that it needs a little bit of a crumbling every now and again, those crumblings only happen if you need them to happen. And the way it happened for us was we had to wake up to the fact that we were following somebody else's dream, not ours. We thought that society required us to be a CEO of a company or to run a successful business
or
overseas,
even just to pay off our credit cards to go traveling and have savings.
All of that was actually not our true desire. No. We wanted the freedom to travel. We didn't want to be locked into things. We thought we were kind of, keeping up with the Joneses type of thing, or keeping up to what society expects of us. So all of those things happen so that you can, like Nat said, course correct, get on, and start asking the big questions. What do you really want? What do you really want? Not what your mum wants for you. What do you really want?
It's about the universe. It's trying to put you on your path. It's the path that you really want to be on. It's the path where you open up and what you love is flowing and all that sort of stuff. It's trying to put you onto there all the time. But you get so sidetracked with what society thinks and where you think you should be that you do go off these paths, which is exactly what happened to us in Dubai. And then the course correction puts you back on the path of what you love. What we love is traveling the world. We would never stop doing that. We love it. So that's all it did, was put us back on that path. So really, you can't go wrong at the end of the day. If you get a course correction and a failure, you're going to end up better off than where you were.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
that's true. It sounds so trite to say like find out what you love and then go and do it. But like that's it, you know. Oh, we don't even need this whole podcast. That's all. That's it. Finished. Yeah.
You don't know what you love until you get out there and have an experience of it. And we've done different projects and stuff for, you know, the roaming income stuff and house sitting, and gone, well, we don't know if we would love to put on a house sitting summit. So let's do that. Have the experience of it. Might be the only time we ever do it, or we might run it every year because it's really cool. Well, so we've done that. And a retreat. We ran a retreat in Italy because we didn't know whether we'd like to do it or not. So we did it to find out.
Putting it back over to you as well. I mean, you were doing house sitting, and Hannah had been talking about doing a bit of house sitting, and you're like, should I, shouldn't I? You take on. You had to have the direct experience in order to define your own boundaries. It's like, no, I ain't ever doing 4 dogs again, 5 dogs again. Like, it's not for me. But you have to have the direct experience in order to help just to know what you do want by finding out what you don't want first.
Exactly. And now I know 4 dogs is way too many for me to look after.
Yeah, even for us, we wouldn't do it either. So we've put our own boundaries in place by having the direct experiences of 3 dogs, which was bad enough, and went again. Like
I should have really thought about pets, like as a thing, you know. Do I even want pets, let alone 4 dogs?
Yeah.
You dived in big time.
Yeah, you were right into it.
Should have just started with a cat or something. No.
You might have liked house sitting.
All right, guys. Well, where can people find you online to learn more about you, buy your house sitting stuff? Because I'm sure everyone's desperate to get started house sitting now.
Yeah, well, we've got the housesettingacademy.com, but basically all of our projects run off our name website. So Nat and Jodie, as I mentioned at the start, NATNJODIE.com. So that's kind of our little central hub for all of our projects.
Yeah. Awesome. Then that will be in the show notes. If you guys want to go to digitalnomad.me, that will be there for you to find. Nice and easy. Thanks for having you. Thanks for having you. Thanks for having you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If anyone wants to get that, You've Got Mail reference. Thanks for being here, guys. Love ya.
Awesome. I love it.
Love you too.
Love you back.
Thanks.
And your front.
On that awkward note, let's just shut the podcast off right there.